It all started with a letter. Cream-colored, official-looking, nestled in my mailbox between a grocery flyer and a bill. My heart always did a little nervous flip when I saw the HOA logo. My wife Sarah and I had bought our little house in this planned community mostly for the good schools and the park at the end of our cul-de-sac. We weren't exactly joiners, but we paid our dues and kept the lawn mowed. This letter, though, was different. It informed us, in no uncertain terms, that all properties backing onto the community green space, that was us, lucky us, were required to install a new standardized 6-foot privacy fence. For uniformity and enhanced security, it read. My jaw tightened. Our old charming picket fence, the one covered in Sarah's climbing roses, was apparently not uniform or secure enough. The real kicker, the letter specified that any gates installed must also be of a standardized design and could only open inwards onto our property. I remember ranting to Sarah that night. Uniformity. It's a fence, not a military parade. And what about the park? The kids love running straight from our backyard into the park. Our gate opens outwards right now. It's perfect. Sarah, ever the calmer one, just sighed. I know, honey, but you know how Mrs. Henderson is. Once she gets an idea in her head. Mrs. Henderson was the self-appointed queen of our HOA, a woman whose life seemed to revolve around measuring grass height and scrutinizing paint swatches. We tried to fight it, of course. We went to the HOA meeting. I made what I thought was a passionate plea about community access and the joy of an open connection to the park. I pointed out that our current gate, opening outwards, didn't impede anyone and was a natural flow. Mrs. Henderson, with her tightly permed hair and a smile that didn't reach her eyes, simply said, "The rules are for everyone, Mr. Gable. For uniformity and security." The vote was a foregone conclusion. The next few weeks were miserable. The cost of the fence was a punch to the gut we hadn't budgeted for. Watching them tear down our little picket fence, Sarah's roses ripped out. With it felt like a piece of our home was being stolen. The new fence went up, tall and imposing, a solid wall of bland beige vinyl. It felt like a prison wall. And the gate. Oh, that gate. It was heavy, beige, and as per regulations, it swung inwards. This meant that to go into the park, you had to step back into our yard, pull this cumbersome thing towards you, squeeze through, and then make sure it latched. Coming back was even worse, especially if you were carrying anything. The first weekend after it was up, our little Timmy, he was 6 then, tried to run out to the park like he always did. He smacked right into the unyielding vinyl. The wail that followed broke my heart. Our dog Buster, who used to chase squirrels into the park with joyous abandon, just sat by the new gate, whining, confused. Our direct access, our little slice of freedom, was gone. Now to get to the park, we had to walk all the way around the block, down the main street, and through the official park entrance. It added a good 10 minutes to the trip. It sounds like a small thing, but it changed everything. The spontaneous trips to the park stopped. The kids from the neighborhood who used to cut through our yard, with our blessing, to get to the swings now had to take the long way too. I felt trapped. Utterly, completely trapped by beige vinyl and HOA bureaucracy. I'd stand in my backyard, staring at that fence, and just feel this simmering anger. Mrs. Henderson would sometimes stroll by on the park path, giving our new, compliant fence a satisfied nod. I wanted to scream. One particularly hot Saturday, I was trying to mow the strip of grass between the fence and our patio. The gate was, of course, closed. Sarah was inside, trying to console a frustrated Timmy who wanted to go to the park now, but didn't want the long walk. I heard kids on the other side of the fence, in the park, their laughter like a taunt, and then an idea, so simple and yet so audacious, hit me. It wasn't fully formed, just a spark. The gate, it swung inwards, into my property. What happened? On my property was, within reason, my business, right? I dropped the mower and went inside. Sarah, I said, a new energy in my voice, what if we opened the gate? Not for us to go out, but for others to come. Well, not in, but to the gate? She looked at me, puzzled. What are you talking about, Tom? I started pacing. The gate opens onto our yard. We have that little paved bit right inside the gate before the grass starts. It's small, but it's there. What if we set up a little stand? Right there. People are walking by in the park, especially on hot days. They're thirsty. The nearest shop is miles away. A slow smile spread across Sarah's face. Lemonade? You want to sell lemonade through the prison gate? Not just lemonade. I was getting excited now. Cold water, maybe some prepackaged snacks, dog treats. People walk their dogs in the park, all the time. The beauty of it was, we wouldn't be violating any HOA rules. The gate would be open onto our property. We weren't altering the fence. We weren't running a business in the park. It was on our land. That week, we were a whirlwind of quiet activity. I built a small foldable counter that would fit snugly in the space just inside the gate. Sarah found a cheerful, bright yellow tablecloth and a charming old-fashioned sign that read Parkside Provisions. We bought a good cooler, a big dispenser for lemonade, and stocked up on bottled water, juice boxes, individually wrapped cookies, and a big jar of dog biscuits. The next Saturday morning, we were ready. I propped the gate open, securing it against the side of our house. We set up the little counter. Sarah arranged everything neatly. Timmy, now intrigued, appointed himself chief biscuit giver. At first, people walking by in the park just looked curious. A few slowed down, read the sign, and smiled. Then, a young couple with a panting golden retriever stopped. Are you selling water? The woman asked. Sure are, I said, trying to sound casual. Cold water, lemonade, snacks. Oh, thank goodness, she exclaimed. We forgot ours, and Max is parched. They bought 2 waters and a dog biscuit. Max crunched his treat happily. That was the start. Word spread like wildfire. The convenience was undeniable. Kids playing soccer would run over for a juice box. Sweaty joggers were grateful for ice-cold water. Elderly folks taking a constitutional would stop for a friendly chat and a small cookie. Dog owners became our regulars. We weren't making a fortune. Not at first. But it was something. More importantly, it felt good. We were connecting with our neighbors again, the ones on the other side of that awful fence. We'd hear snippets of their lives, share a laugh. Timmy was thrilled, counting the coins and making sure every dog got a treat. Buster, our dog, would sit happily by the open gate, getting pats from passers-by. Of course, it wasn't long before Mrs. Henderson got wind of it. One afternoon she appeared, clipboard in hand, her lips pursed so tight they nearly vanished. Mr. Gable, she said, her voice dripping with disapproval. What exactly is going on here? I gave her my most pleasant smile. Good afternoon, Mrs. Henderson. Just offering some refreshments to folks enjoying the park. All on my property, of course. Gate opens inwards, as per regulations. I gestured to the clearly visible boundary. She scanned the setup, then consulted. Her clipboard, flipping through pages. I could almost see the gears whirring in her head as she tried to find a rule. Any rule, we were breaking. This is highly irregular, she finally stated. Is it against any specific HOA bylaw, Mrs. Henderson? Sarah asked sweetly, coming to stand beside me with a pitcher of fresh lemonade. Mrs. Henderson huffed. It's commercial activity. On our private property, offering a small convenience, I countered. We're not disturbing the peace. No, loud music, no unsightly structures extending into common areas. She couldn't find anything. We were meticulous. We kept the area spotless. We only operated during reasonable daylight hours on weekends and some weekday afternoons. We paid our sales tax. We were, in every technical sense, compliant. Her frustration was a delicious little victory. She eventually stalked off, muttering about the spirit of the rules. The Parkside Provisions, as Timmy officially named it, became a neighborhood institution. We started recognizing the regulars. We learned their names, their kids' names, their dogs' names. Old Mr. Abernathy, who walked with a cane, would always buy a ginger snap and tell Timmy a story. The young mom, Maya, with her twin toddlers, would stop for juice boxes and a moment of adult conversation. The money we made was surprisingly decent. It more than paid for Timmy's swimming lessons, then his soccer camp. We started putting a bit aside for college. It wasn't a gold mine, in the sense of making us rich, but it was a steady, welcome stream of income that eased our financial worries considerably. It paid for the fence many times over, but the real gold was the connection. That fence was meant to isolate us, to box us in. And in a way, it did. But it also, ironically, created the very opportunity that brought us closer to our community than ever before. We were no longer just the Gables at the end of the cul-de-sac. We were Tom, Sarah, and Timmy from Parkside Provisions, the friendly faces at the gate. Even some of the HOA board members privately would stop by for a drink. They'd never say it out loud in a meeting, but they appreciated the convenience. The funniest thing was, the gate itself became a meeting point. People would arrange to meet at the Gables gate. It was a landmark. The thing that was designed to trap me, to cut me off, had become a hub of neighborhood life. Sometimes I'd look at that beige vinyl fence, and I wouldn't feel anger anymore. I'd see Mrs. Henderson walking by, still giving us a frosty look, and I'd just smile and wave. She'd given us a problem, and we'd found a solution that was better than we could have ever imagined. That HOA forced a fence on us, thinking they were penning us in. They thought they'd won. But they just handed us the key, or rather, the gate, to our own little gold mine. Not just a gold mine of cash, though that was nice, but a gold mine of goodwill, of laughter, of community. And that, I realized, was the most valuable kind of treasure there was. All thanks to a stupid fence and a gate that opened the wrong way, which turned out to be exactly the right way for us.